Okay, folks, we're ready to, this is the moment of truth, cutting the box in half. Basically, I'm going to cut the lid off. So you see we have the bottom on, and I have the top just set in there. It's enough of an interference fit where it'll stay just like that. And I've got it in there so that it keeps the box very stable. I don't want one side or the other being able to shift at all. So this is a very stable box at this point. It's just, except the top's not glued in. And so we're going to go over that. It shouldn't take that long to do this. What we're trying to do here, it turns out that this little knot on the bottom of this thing, this is called a centering rule, where your zero is your center. If you make the same side on both sides, so I've got 1 3/4 on the left and 1 3/4 on the right, and you see that zero is dead center of that thing, which helps me. I don't have to put a pencil mark on there for that. But what I want to do is make sure that that blade is just higher than that, because when I cut through this thing, we're only going to cut this box twice. I know I had said we're going to run it once this way, and then this way, and then this way. That invites problems. I've done that before. It invites problems. The other thing is that I've made sure that this blade is perfectly square to this table. It wasn't when I rolled it all the way down to its lock state. And so anyway, so I adjusted it, and no light could be seen between this edge and the square that I used to test it against this table. So that's helpful, because if that blade was off a little bit, when I turned it over and did the other side, those two ends wouldn't meet properly. Now remember, we're cutting this is the top with the chamfered edge, the spalted top, and all that kind of stuff. And we're cutting in between these two squares right here. And so if I pull this up on its side, I thought I put a pencil mark there. I did, right here. Okay, so we're going to cut this side first. Here's what I've done. The other thing is I want to cut it halfway between these two splines on here. So if I put this, if I make this a 1/2 inch kind of in the middle of that spline, and a 1/2 inch kind of in the middle of that spline, you can see that I am dead on to that zero spot, and there's a little pencil mark. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but on the GoPro you can see that tiny little pencil mark next to the zero right there. So, and I could have made it bigger. I just was holding it rather precariously, and that's all I want to do is just touch a dot to it. So I want that pencil mark to be right in the center of that blade as it comes up. So I'm going to move my fence over. Let me take this off. I don't think I need this anymore. Move my fence over to where it's close. All right, that appears to be dead center, and I'm more interested in holding the box down flat against the table than square against, because that probably got a slight little out of squareness in there. That is not unusual for that to happen. For there to be a little bit of, well, really what I'm seeing is the fact that I've sanded over that edge. It looks like there's a gap, but there's really not. So, all right, so I've got that blade dead center of that spot that I want to cut between, right on that pencil mark that I made. And so when we cut, we're going to be cutting with the glued bottom against the fence. And I'm not going to put any pressure on this top. I'm just going to, when I squeeze this thing together on the second cut, I'll be squeezing this edge to this edge like this and running it through the fence like that. So this is a tricky cut. I'm cutting a lot through the top. It seems scary. I don't want this piece to fall out, but this is the moment of truth. So we'll see how it goes. I think I'm ready to cut. Let me make sure. So the fence is locked down. It's right in the right place. I've got a clear way ahead of me on this thing. Oh, let me mention this. After we do cut, I've got this little piece of thin strip wood that's exactly the same width as this blade right here. I don't know if you can see that right there, but it's exactly the same width as that blade. And I've tested it on a cut. So it took me a couple of tries to get it exact, but that's important for me to make sure the GoPro's pointed right. Yep, we're in good shape. All right, so and I wanted this to be wider. I didn't want just a 3/4 inch strip. I wanted this to be able to go down and be able to have a lot of purchase against that when I start squeezing it together, because when I squeeze it together from the top, I don't want there to be any chance that the last cut grab that blade or anything like that. It would do two things. It would be dangerous, number one, but number two, it would damage the box if it squeezed in at all. So I want to be able to hold the box at the top and be able to lift it up with this piece in there after it's already been cut off, and have there still be exactly the same width at the bottom. So that's the goal of this. So that won't go in until after we make the first cut. So I think we're ready to make the first cut. Ear protection on. Dust collection on. Saw. I'm going slowly. No complications there. All right, first half was the easier part. So you see we've got it a kerf all the way through. And when I run this through again from this side, that saw blade should match up with that kerf exactly, but I don't want this to squeeze in. So that's what this is for. This goes down in here. It's an interference fit. It goes all the way down, and I will leave it just like that. And when I hold this together, I'm not pushing it on the top, because remember that top is, I would squeeze it in. I'm just pushing it on this one little edge right here. So I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm going to run the same cut through here so that it stays together. So this is the real moment of truth, the most dangerous part of that cut. But I've taken all the safety precautions, and we're ready to go. Normally I would clamp that, but I can't clamp against this piece because it's loose in there right now. So that's why I'm just holding it up here like this. Saw on, dust collection on. Through on that side. And we're all the way through on that side. The box is cut in half. As I move this box over, I'm still holding it. I want you to see that I've got complete control over this box until I let go, and then it falls apart. Now the main thing is, you see I've got a little bit of it was off just a tad bit. That's less than 1/1000th of an inch. It's not off at all over here, but I think, I'm not quite sure I'm going to handle that, but I will fix that some kind of way. Sandpaper could be the right thing, but I want these two boxes, box tops, to fit together well. And I'll have to take care of this edge and this edge in order for that to happen. That's unfortunate that that went like that, but that's, the other side is just perfect. So you can see that this box lid fits on there perfectly, and it will hinge up just like this with little tiny hinges. And so now at this point, after I repair this, I'll do that off camera. because I'll probably just use a little plane to shave that. Maybe some sandpaper. I still haven't decided, but whatever happens, when I put this down, I want that to be, I don't want there to be a gap there. So actually, you know what I may have to do? I may have to, I'll take the GoPro over here. I may have to take it over to this planer, put this on here, and put this on a very tiny setting. Right now it's at 1/128th of an inch, and that's, I could probably make it less than that, but I would run this over that planer. I keep calling it the planer. It's really a joiner. I could run it over that joiner, and that would take it off not only from this fail spot, but it would take it off all the way the same width. And then I would do the same thing here, all the way the same width. Then when I put the two boxes together, they should be a nice tight fit. So anyway, that's the deed has been done. And so the next steps are to glue the top in. And once it's glued in, I'm going to take care of doing that little bit of planing right there. I'll do those on another video. I guess I could do them off camera. Now you're going to want to see that glue job. But anyway, that's going to be over at the work table, and I'll have to reset my cameras up. Now you'll notice that this is MDF and it's visible inside here. That's where I was going to put that flocking. I haven't decided. I'm running out of time on this thing. Christmas is coming soon. This weekend is going to be a big weekend, getting ready, the house ready for the kids to come, and I may not have time to put this flocking on here. So unfortunately, what may end up happening is I get this thing nearly finished before Christmas, and then there's a couple of things left to do. I may have to put another couple of coats of oil on here. I had to put this flocking on here, and I can't put the oil on before I put the flocking. And it might be wise for me to just put that flocking on here now. Yeah, I can still see the one mark on here, so I want to make sure I can get this back in the right orientation. I might want to put that flocking on here now, and then see if I can glue it after I put the flocking on there. If I get any glue squeeze out, which I don't think I would because I'm going in from this direction. So that would be wiping glue away from the flocking up to the top. So if there's any glue squeeze out, it's going to be around that top edge as I push this down there. So I may just put that flocking on here before I glue this in, and you'd be able to see that. And the only reason for the flocking is it gives it a nice, it's black, it feels like velour, and the MDF is just simply not finish ready wood. I could paint it, and that would be fine as long as I had a good finish on it. But even MDF is difficult to paint because it absorbs so much paint. You had to put many coats on it. And then I run the risk of getting paint somewhere else on here and all that kind of stuff. So the flocking may be the way to go, and then insert this into the top and go from there. So my little mark, which was a 1 on here, there it is. That's at the, and I can also tell the bottom because of this little scratch. But once that scratch goes away, it's hard to tell the difference between the top and the bottom of the lid. So this is the top because it's further away from the spline. I want the spline closer to the edge down here in order to give it, because the top's going to give it strength, and then this is going to give it strength, and I want those to be kind of separated so they add to each other as opposed to both trying to do the same thing. So, folks, hope you liked the video. Let me get back on my stool so you can see my face as I do this outro. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to be reminded of any new videos that come out. We're making progress on this thing. Like I said, if I don't get this finished, so grandson number 2 will still get to see it, but he may have to, I may have to ship it to him or bring it to him on his birthday or something like that. But he'll be able to see the videos and all of that, and get to actually see the box, handle it, and all that kind of stuff during Christmas. It won't be finished, but it will be very, very close. And I want to take the time to put a tray in here. The tray is very important, I think, to make this thing very special, where you can have a place with pencils on the bottom. There'll be 2 edges at the bottom, the width of slightly larger than the width of a pencil. And the pencils can go in there, and then a tray fits on the top of that edge, and there'll be slight little small walls around the edge of that tray, just so that when you lift it out, nothing falls off the tray. But I don't want it to be deep. I just want it to be just shallow, so that you can, so it doesn't take up any room. But when you pull things out, things won't roll off or anything like that, and you can set it down. Let's say you had a marble or something like that in there, and the marble wouldn't roll off, because holding that little center column, and you set it down, and now the marbles are there. So, and then when the lid's open like this, and the flocking is up like this, it'll sit like this, and you can take your finest little treasures and put them on the flocking and display them like jewelry at a jewelry store. You know, they always take those little black cloths to display the jewelry and so forth like that. I don't know what made me think of that, but that's another reason for flocking. So anyway, and to a little boy, a shiny stone is just as much treasure as that big diamond ring on my wife's hand. So anyway, we'll see you later, and thanks, and talk to you later. Bye.